Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jared Skowron from Autism Awakening, the podcast that helps you help your child with autism. Again, my name's Dr. Skowron. I've been an autism biomedical doctor for over 20 years, and this podcast is to give you ideas on how to help your child with autism. It's really important to understand autism is a medical condition. It's not a child's choice. It's not parenting. There's a lot going on internally with our kids from a medical, biological perspective that we can help with. And when we help with those medical issues, your child is going to improve. Whether that's better behavior, whether that's better language, whether that's better mental cognition, all on our goal to eventually get our kids to be independent and live the life that they deserve. Now, if you're new to Spectrum Awakening and Autism Awakening podcast, we record our podcast live every Thursday on our Facebook page. So you can go to Facebook Spectrum Awakening and watch our live recording. And you can also ask live questions. We take half of our podcast and discuss a topic. We take the other half of our podcast and answer any live questions that you may have about autism, about your child, somebody you know. Either way, we're here to help you guys through this process. So today we're going to be talking about, sorry, I'm getting all my articles together. We're going to be talking today about self-injurious behaviors. Now, I just did a big talk about this at the TACA Autism Conference a couple of weekends ago, and it's something that a lot of our families deal with. You may be dealing with as well. It's when a child gets so upset. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. It's coming or it's not coming. Hold on. All right, good, we stopped it. Our kids get so upset that they go past hyperactivity. They go past using your furniture as a jungle gym, and it's more than screaming. It's to a place where they start to hurt themselves. They may be scratching themselves till they bleed. They may be banging their head on the wall. All different activities that are really sad to see. Nobody wants our kids getting hurt. They may also take that frustration out on us. So how many of us have had our hair pulled out, have scratches on our arms, or the kids then go after others, whether it's teachers or therapists or other kids or whoever. Nobody wants those calls coming back from school, but our kids are acting out. Now, from a standard conventional treatment, if you go to your doctor and say, hey, my kid's hurting themselves, they're hurting me, what do I do? Most likely they're going to put you on a pharmaceutical called risperidone or risperidol. Now, I hate this medication. I don't like it at all, because all it does is turn your kids into a zombie and gain 50 pounds, okay? It does stop the violent behavior, but it just numbs them out. It's a psychiatric straitjacket, okay? It's a pharmaceutical just Band-Aid to shut somebody up so they don't do damage to themselves. And again, the outcome is what we want. They're not hurting themselves, but it's never really getting to the core of why is this happening. It's just making the assumption that the kid wants to act this way, and okay, well, we're gonna shut their brain off so they don't act that way. All right. But I really don't like that medication because, again, it really turns you into a zombie. And yeah, it's great that nobody's getting hurt, but you're just gonna go through how many years of life being like that and not really helping your child become who they should be. So what we want to do is get to the core of why those behaviors are there. All right. Why does someone just choose to hurt themselves? Why does someone choose to hurt others? And what I think is super important to remember, and if you get one thing out of this podcast, remember this: anger and violence can be a choice to alleviate pain. Period. Okay. Anger can help someone alleviate their pain. So what we want to do is put get into our child's shoes. You want to, as the saying goes, you want to understand what somebody's thinking or feeling. Well, walk a mile in my shoes, period. All right. So put yourself in your child's shoes and think about, hey, are you in pain? And if so, where is that pain coming from? Because with our kids, there's usually only a few common places where this pain comes from. And if we can stop the pain, okay, if we can treat the cause of that pain, those behaviors will improve. I have seen it for decades and decades of helping kids with autism. The pain causes the anger, causes the outbursts and the behaviors. So we've got to get to the core of that pain. So where are the most common places? Well, when we look at kids in general, where are their most common causes of pain? Well, number one, teething. So think about your child. Teeth come at all ages. I mean, you've got those early teeth. You got 6-year molars. My daughter's 12 now, and she's pushing some teeth. So at a lot, you got wisdom teeth. So many different ages, teeth are going to be coming out. So if you see, hey, this anger isn't all the time, but it just happens, periodically, think about teething. All right. Next, growth spurts. Growth spurts hurt as well. So if you have somebody that seems to have pain near their joints, okay, the knees are really common. The elbows and the arms can be really common as well. Pain near the joints, not in the joints. So like, for instance, if it was your elbow, the elbow wouldn't hurt, but just a couple inches off. All right. That's where the growth spurt occurs. The growth spurt occurs in the bone just before you meet the joint. So that kind of growth pain, growth spurts can hurt as well. But again, that's not going to be a regular type of thing. That's going to be more periodic and intermittent. All right. Other pain, and a lot of our kids' pains, come from infections. Okay. Now, we can look at upper respiratory infections. I think a lot of our kids who headbang, especially back in the day when they talk about in the 20th century, autism and headbanging was a very common symptom of autism back then. Honestly, I just think it's an ear infection or a headache or a migraine, okay? Because if I've got a plugged ear, we've all had ear infections. If I have a plugged ear, it's like you're underwater and you can't get that pressure to relieve. Kid doesn't know what's going on. They don't understand the process of this. So what are they going to do? They're going to bang their head until you relieve that pressure, okay? So if your kid is a headbanger, get their doctor to look in their ears. See if there's an ear infection. See if it's plugged up. Even just mucus in there, all right? Or do they have a headache? Okay, they got a headache. I got to pound that pain away. That's where these behaviors come from. Now, in addition to upper respiratory infections, it's also a lot of gut infections. Our kids are so predisposed to getting gut infections because what happens with autism is whatever the cause of autism is, if it's genetic for you, if it's infection for you, if it's toxin for you, that ends up affecting the mitochondria. Mitochondria, you remember from high school, those are the powerhouse of the cells. It provides energy for the body. And part of the body that needs a lot of energy is our immune system. So when our immune system is lowered, for some reason, the immune system of the stomach and the intestines and the gut gets depleted first. So your kid may have a decent immune system and they fight off infections and colds and you're fine. Or you may go to the other end of the extreme where you have pandas and pans and autoimmune encephalitis. But a lot of our kids have a really deficient, depleted immune system of the gut. So all you got to do is add on a few antibiotics through the course of your life, which we all need at some time. And then all of a sudden you get a yeast infection. All of a sudden you get a mold infection. All of a sudden you get bacterial infections and parasites and worms. Trust me, I've seen it all in our kids. Those infections can last for months to years. And the pain from those infections, our kids feel more. Why? Because they have sensory issues. Okay. If I can't even get my hair cut or my nails clipped, what's going to be the pain of constipation? What's going to be the pain of a stomach bug? It's going to be felt much higher than you or I would feel. So again, we're trying to put ourselves into their shoes. And how are you feeling? And why are you reacting this way? Well, guess what? My stomach hurts and I'm trying to poop and nothing's happening. It just hurts. I'm going to lash out, especially with our kids who are nonverbal or don't have the appropriate language skills. They cannot communicate that pain to you. Maybe they don't understand that pain and what's going on. But if I cannot communicate it to you with words, well, gosh darn it, I'm going to show you what I'm feeling. I'm going to show you the pain. I'm going to give you the pain. This is where I'm at. So get into their shoes and figure that out. Now, Sherry, perfect timing, asks, how do you treat a gut infection? That's exactly where we're going right now, Sherry. And live shout out to Erica. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope Titus is doing well. So let's talk about those infections. First off, how can I find, well, let me take a step back. One way to see if pain is causing behaviors is to stop the pain. Okay, so the first thing to do is I would try some ibuprofen. Okay, ibuprofen's an over-the-counter anti-inflammatory. It goes by the brand names Motrin or Advil. Either way, as you know, we don't use Tylenol. Tylenol is toxic to the brain, has been proven so by researchers from Harvard and Duke. So we don't use Tylenol or acetaminophen, but what we do want to use is ibuprofen. Use the dose based on your child's age and weight. That dose is on the bottle. Give them a dose or two and see if that helps the behaviors. if an anti-inflammatory helps a behavior, we're not giving an antipsychotic medication like risperidol. If an anti-inflammatory improves the behavior must come from inflammation and pain, period. Okay, very straightforward cause and effect. So try some of that. And if you see that work, we definitely want to go down this road. So first off, before we talk about treating a gut infection, how do you find a gut infection? If you really want to know and you want to test, you're like, hey, I want to make sure I know if there's a gut infection. The way to do that is with stool testing. Okay, you can get your poop, send it to the lab and say, hey, are there any infections there? Because labs look for infections. People get C. diff, people get E. coli, people get H. pylori, people get parasites, all right? Our kids can as well. So you can go to your doctor and say, hey, I want a stool test for infections. I think I have one. Maybe they'll order it, maybe they not. But you can also get very advanced stool tests. So there are companies out there that specialize in stool testing and do it extremely well. And you can get one of those tests for yourself if you really want to check stuff out. Now, if your doctor doesn't order those or won't order those, we have them on our website. So you can go to our Spectrum Awakening website and get these stool tests, okay? And what you're going to get is you're going to get a test kit, and there's cups in there, and you put poop in the cup, send it off to the lab, and we're going to get a report, okay? So we're going to get that report. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to write you out an interpretation. So you get your lab report, your answers, as well as instructions on what to do. So you're going to get something like this. Here's an example of one of the stool tests that we use. This is through Mosaic Diagnostics. They used to be Great Plains until they sold out and got renamed. I need my cheaters. All right. So here's a great example of that stool test. What you're going to see are infections. So this patient here had infections of two bacteria called Citrobacter and a bacteria called Klebsiella. I see that a lot. This patient also has a form of Candida. Now, it's not Candida albicans, which is very popular, but this is a different form of Candida. And there's many, many different forms of fungus and fungal infections, Candida infections, mold infections. It's all right here. So you may find, hey, my kid has bacteria. My kid has a yeast. In fact, just on Wednesday, when was Wednesday? Yesterday, I saw a patient who had 2 bacteria infections, 1 Candida infection, and 1 mold infection. They had 4 infections in their gut simultaneously proven on lab results. So our kids get this stuff, period, okay? We tend to ignore it if they're not having massive diarrhea, but they're in there, and that's special for our kids with autism, okay? Now, you're also going to get a parasite and a worm test with these, all right? And so here's an example. Here's different parasites that they'll test for, and you can see this patient has a parasite called blastocystis, which is quite common, and another one called dientamoeba, which is pretty common as well. So you're going to find the parasites, you're going to find the bacteria, you're going to find the candida and the yeast and the mold, and they'll be there. And if you want that motivation to treat, then do it. But you don't need these lab results to start treatment because there's no harm to it. There's no harm to the natural treatments to get rid of these bugs. So you can just do it. That's totally fine. Let me take a side comment here. One of the symptoms that's unique to gut infections, especially fungal infections, is inappropriate laughter. So if your child laughs for no apparent reason, that's a huge sign of a fungal infection in the gut. All right, there's really no other condition that causes that. So if you see that in your kids, and it's common in our kids, go down this gut infection road. All right, I also mentioned mold. You cannot test for mold on a stool test. It doesn't exist, at least not yet. But you can through the urine. Okay, mold infections in the gut are going to create different chemicals. Those chemicals get absorbed into the blood. They get filtered out through the kidneys into our urine. So we can look for mold infections in the gut. It's a very specialized test. There's not many out there anymore, or out there at all. We use one from Mosaic Diagnostics called the Mycotox. There are a couple other labs that'll do this. But what you're going to see are these urine levels of mold. So here's one called aflatoxin. Here's one called ochratoxin. Okay, this can come from your food. This can come from your house, and you can see it. Okay, here it is. I've proven it. This is in my child. I want to get rid of it. Like I said, there's no harm in just treating at all. But if you want to see it, these tests are out there. All right, let's move over to the treatments. All right, when we treat gut infections, there are 2 things you need to do, period. And let me give you a great example, because I literally just talked to a patient before I got on this Facebook Live, this podcast recording, and the patient is doing well. We said, well, what have you been doing? And they said, well, my doctor gave me a prescription for nystatin, okay? So medications like nystatin or diflucan or ketoconazole, those are medications for different candidas, different fungal infections, different yeast infections in the gut. Great, all right? What happened with the patient? The mom gave the child the nystatin. It started killing off the yeast, but it started creating a lot of hyperactive behaviors. So the mom said, oh my gosh, I'm giving this medication and my child's more hyperactive. They're more frustrated. They seem more uncomfortable. I'm going to stop the medication. Okay. And then the behaviors went back to baseline. That is a huge sign. And I also want to extrapolate that. If you have similar results to probiotics, hey, I gave probiotics to my kid, but they're more hyper and they're more behavioral. Or if you gave certain prebiotics like inulin. Inulin's one of many prebiotics. Hey, I gave inulin to my kid. They got more hyper. They got more behavior. They got more moody. Same idea as the nystatin. Same idea as the antifungal medications. If they're killing off bugs in the gut, if they're killing off infections to the gut, that hurts. And that pain is felt more by our kids, so the behaviors ramp up. These are known as die-off reactions. The bugs are dying, and there's a reaction that our body has to that. So they're called die-off reactions, all right? When you treat gut infections, you must improve, must mediate these die-off reactions, okay? Because we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to deal with pain. We don't want to deal with behaviors. Neither of us do. You don't. Your child doesn't want to feel the pain. So what you want to do to decrease those or eliminate those completely is add a supplement called a binder, okay? Binders are your friend when treating gut infections. Number one, what does a binder do? Think about a water filter, okay? If you have a Brita filter at home, what is it? It's a pitcher. You pour water in it. It goes through this filter, and out comes cleaner water. Why? Because whatever's in the filter catches stuff that you don't want, period, okay? It binds things that you don't want. It's a binder. In affordable water filtration systems like Brita, that filter is made of charcoal. It's charcoal. Charcoal is an amazing item that binds things, and therefore you get cleaner water when you put it through your filter. So you're going to want to use binders. Binders are your friend. You want to use things like charcoal. You want to use things like bentonite clay. You want to use things like chlorella. We have a great binder for your gut that contains like 20 different types of binders, which is amazing. It's called Gut Binder Sweet Tasting. It comes as pills, but you can open the pill and mix the powder into something. Again, it has a really sweet flavor, so it's easy for our kids to take, all right? So you want a binder. Again, why do we want a binder? Because it's going to grab the stuff that's dying. It's going to grab the stuff that's in there so you can poop it out and reduce these die-off reactions. Next, we got to kill the bugs, all right? So killing the bugs, and Angie asked a great question, which I'm going to answer now and get to more questions later. Nystatin and binder at the same time? I say yes. Some people say separate them by a couple hours. You can do that if you want. If it's easier, I say simultaneously. I've seen plenty of benefits giving this stuff simultaneously to hundreds, if not thousands of kids, okay? We got to kill it off. Killing it off, I say go big or go home. Use as much stuff as you want. If you're getting pharmaceuticals from your doctor like nystatin or diflucan or metronidazole, great, go for it. Add on the natural stuff as well. I feel the natural stuff is just as effective, so you can just use natural or you can use combination, but I would do as much as you can to kill these bugs off and the binder, okay? Here, let's get into some research. What do I use and recommend for killing these things off? I like two things, and there's many things. There's many natural things out there that'll kill bugs off. There's a lot of different herbs and treatments, all right? Use what works, period. My two favorite are colloidal silver, has to be high quality. Number two, grapefruit seed extract, all right? Those are amazing natural substances that kill off these bugs. Trust me, I have a bottle of colloidal silver at my house all the time. So if my daughter comes home from school, she's got the sniffles, she's got something, boom, it goes back. She can handle the flavor. It tastes like mineral water, and down it goes, and she gets better quickly. All right, so let's see some research, because we all love scientific research. It's not just me flapping my gums. We've got stuff behind it. Here is a research article called Silver Nanoparticles. And let me take a break. Let me take a pause. Silver nanoparticles is the medical term for colloidal silver. So it's a research study on colloidal silver. Silver nanoparticles, aka colloidal silver, is a promising treatment against clinically important fluconazole-resistant candida, okay? What this study says is you can have yeast infections. You can have candida infections resistant to the drugs. So this was resistant to a drug called fluconazole, which is also known as the brand name diflucan. Very powerful antifungal drug, but you can have yeast that are resistant to it. Just like we have antibiotic resistant bacteria, you can have antifungal resistant yeast infections. So the colloidal silver is a great treatment killing off candida. When your candida is immune to the medications, you can use this stuff. You can use this stuff regardless because it works. All right. Here is another one. And this is a study of the activity of silver nanoparticles against candida, alone or in combination with different pharmaceuticals called azoles or polyenes. And again, research study shows the colloidal silver works great at killing off these candida infections, these fungal infections, mold infections. Okay, mold is another fungus, just like candida. Here's one on the grapefruit seed extract. Grapefruit seed extract effectively inhibits candida biofilms. All right, it's going to kill that stuff off. And let me kind of take a step back. Why do all these natural things kill off yeast? Why do they kill off fungal infections and mold? Because out in nature, they're exposed to fungal infections. They're exposed to mold. And so they've developed chemicals in the plants themselves to fight off that mold. All right. We've learned this. We extract it and then we put it in a natural supplement so that we can use it as humans. But that's where it comes from. Here's another great research study. Essential oil of grapefruit peels formulated for candida infections works amazingly as well. So just another research study on the grapefruit. And last but not least, we did briefly talk about probiotics. There's two general types of probiotics. There's healthy bacteria, things like lactobacillus, acidophilus, bifidus, very common. There's also healthy yeast, okay? So some yeast is good, some yeast is infectious. Just like with bacteria, probiotics are good, strep is infectious, E. coli is infectious, C. diff's infectious. So we can have good and bad of both bacteria and yeast. The good yeast is known as Saccharomyces boulardii. All right, and you can get this as a probiotic supplement. We have it at Spectrum Awakening, Saccharomyces boulardii. That is also amazing at killing off the bad yeast. So the good yeast can kill off the bad yeast. And again, when that infection's gone, I'm in less pain. When I'm in less pain, I have better behaviors. I'm not hurting you because I'm not in pain. All right. So here's our last research study. Last research study says reduction in obsessive compulsive disorder and self-injurious behavior with Saccharomyces in a child with autism. Again, this is just one case report of one child, but when you're killing off the yeast, you decrease the pain. Without the pain, there's no need to react. I feel that all of us, have this general state of happiness and contentment. And if nothing's bothering us, then I'm in a pretty content state. Okay? So when our children are reacting, when they're hurting themselves, when they're hurting us, when they're hurting others, they're not doing it because they're enjoying it. They're doing it because they need to express their pain and they don't know how else to do it. So find their pain, help their pain, and the behaviors will improve. Okay, I know it's hard to do when they're screaming and you're at your limit, you're at your wit's end. Put yourself in their shoes. Maybe you can communicate with them, try to understand whether they're somewhat verbal, whether you can touch the part of the body that hurts, whether they use PECs or tablets or whatever to communicate. Understand where that pain is and try to help that pain. Very commonly gut infections, but can be other things as we mentioned, ear infections, headaches, migraines, teething. Look for the pain, help the pain, and the behaviors will go away. All right, so that's our topic for today. Let me give you the coupon of the weekend, and then we'll get to our live questions. Coupon of the weekend is going to be Candida 20. Candida 20 will get you 20% off any of our supplements, like our colloidal silver and our grapefruit seed extract and our binder. Also, all of our tests, whether you're doing a stool test or a mold test, we've got them on our website. Use Candida 20. It'll get you 20% off. That expires November 3rd, 2024. If you want somebody to walk you through it, I totally understand that. You want to do what's right for your child, but you're not sure where to start. You want to be guided. We have telemedicine appointments. You can get on our website, Spectrum Awakening, click the appointment button. You can book an appointment with me online. You can call our office. You can email our office. If you want that telemedicine support, we're here to help you through it. All right, let's get to some of our live questions. All right, so here we go. Live shout out to Colleen. Good morning. Thanks for the PSA regarding Halloween and those with autism. You're welcome, Colleen. We try to keep our social media busy. And make sure you follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. That's where we do most of our work. All right. Live shout out to Erica and Jen from Missouri and Mahfouz from Canada. Angie, my daughter's 15. We did a trial of birth control. We had a setback of self-injurious behavior since July. I've not been able to get her without headbanging. What can we do? All right. Very interesting. I say that because, again, I talked to a patient this morning who was having a lot of anxiety after starting birth control. I find many people, not autism, just many people get emotions on birth control, okay? So I would say this: consider stopping the birth control, consider a lower dose birth control, or consider one of our supplements called SD Down. Okay, stands for estrogen down. All that estrogen just might be too much. Maybe you can't metabolize it, get it out. That SD Down supplement helps remove the hormones as they should normally be removed out of our body. You know, our body makes stuff, gets rid of it, makes stuff, gets rid of it. Try that, and it can help get rid of those different hormones that are building up in the system. Works great for mood. All right. I wouldn't take it before puberty, but great for mood. All right. Carla, I've tried the Motrin. I've seen calm or good changes in his behavior. I'm going to stop there. I tried Motrin, that's ibuprofen, and had calm or good changes with behavior. This is the example, okay? If behaviors come from pain, then I stop the pain, I stop the behaviors. Clear and evident. All right. One day I have it in the morning before school and received an email from teacher saying he had an excellent day that day. Awesome. This is the example I'm saying. Try this if you haven't tried it. Try some ibuprofen, see if it helps with behaviors. If it does, you know it's pain. Find the pain. Often in the gut, but can be elsewhere. And talk to your child about it. They understand you. Gata, can I use ivermectin for parasite infections? I'm a huge fan of ivermectin. The creator of ivermectin won the Nobel Prize. It's an amazing medication. It's an affordable medication. Young kids can use it. If you can get a script for ivermectin, I think it's amazing. I may be kicked off YouTube for saying that. And trust me, my European patients use it all the time. All the time. It's got a negative connotation here in the US. I won't go into why, but an amazing worldwide medication. Angie said nystatin and binder at the same time. I say yes. Alexis says, hey, from Florida, thanks so much for all you do for Colt. You're welcome. I love helping kids. It's what I do. It's what I want to do. So the more we can help, the better. What I need you guys to do is spread the word. Okay, I can keep flapping my gums on podcasts and Facebook. You guys need to tell other families there's hope. There's ways to help their child versus just putting them on some psych meds to keep them quiet. Let's help our kids be better. Megan, do you give the binder with the natural options like colloidal silver, caprylic acid, or grapefruit seed extract? I do. Again, you can separate the binders and the yeast killers, but you don't have to. And I say that because I've seen it work. I've seen it work. Make your life easier. Santa, can we take a binder and lipoic acid at the same time? Yes. Carla, any kind of diet we should follow when doing this? All right. This is a great question, Carla. I hear a lot of people talk about, and colleagues of mine, if you want to kill fungus, you want to kill yeast, you want to kill candida, starve them. What do they eat? They eat sugar. Okay? They eat sugar. So I see a lot of my colleagues, and I see a lot of this online, where people say, hey, no sugar diet, no carbs, you got to go full on keto, full on Atkins, and starve these guys away. Boy, that's really hard to do. That's really hard for anybody to do, never mind our kids. All right? So I'm not a big proponent of this zero carbs, starve our kids kind of diets. I would say this: please avoid processed sugars. Hard to say on Halloween, isn't it? Okay. Avoid candy, avoid soda. Let's get rid of that kind of sugar. But I'm a whole big supporter of natural, healthy carbohydrates. Fruit, whole grains, those are going to help get rid of these bugs. Okay. Regular white sugar, no, it's going to make the problem worse. All right. Natural sugars, whole grains, I think is huge. All right. And what else can they eat? Add on herbs that kill things. Garlic, onions, oregano, thyme. All right. If your child will eat those kind of flavors, add those on. The fruit, the grapefruit seeds. All right. We've got Angie. What's your best way of killing yeast? As we mentioned, again, the colloidal silver and or the grapefruit seed extract, and add on whatever. Amber, do you know of any of the benefits of peptides in treating kids with PANS and PANDAS? I've had a couple patients use peptides. I think they liked them. I'm not very educated on it. I don't do it with my patients, but I've heard a couple patients say it worked for them. Megan, do you recommend combining the colloidal silver and the grapefruit seed extract? Yep. Or alternate. You could alternate, but I would say like the first week, both, and then you can alternate weeks. Christina, would Temper Tamer 2 affect sleep? Yes. I give it in the morning. I think it's helpful at school, but his sleep is awful. Try another Temper Tamer 2 before sleep, Christina. See if that helps. Angie says, great, I'm booking an appointment. Awesome. Here to help. Literally, I have telemedicine appointments with patients all over the world. Love it. The magic of the 21st century and technology. Donna, we got some trolls online. If we can get those kicked out. Got it. Is charcoal safe for a long time? Yes, it is. Kathy, so what I've observed in the Self-Injurious Behaviors group, it'll start minutes before the rain starts. And he hits his head, and he really wants pressure on his head. All right, Kathy, I like that. I like what you saw. I like that you're trying to find patterns. That's how we can understand things. So barometric pressure seems to affect people with sinus congestion. Did I say that right? Sinus congestion. So if he wants to bang his head, there's pressure changes in his head. Is it ear pressure? Is it mucus in the ear canal? Is it sinus pressure? Go down that road and see if that can change it. Great thing for sinus congestion is a supplement called NAC. It's a protein. We've got it on our website. It used to be banned from Amazon, back on Amazon now, but NAC will help clear that mucus. Caitlin, what supplements do you recommend for pandas? Well, first off, Caitlin, go back through our podcast or our YouTube videos or our Facebook and find the podcast on pans and pandas. Watch it, all right? But in general, two things. What is PANS and PANDAS? PANS and PANDAS is an autoimmune attack on our brain that's triggered by an infection. So the body fights, we get an infection, the body fights the infection, then the body looks at the brain and says, you look delicious, and it starts attacking the brain, all right? How do we fight that? It's a combination of anti-inflammatories to decrease the immune system from attacking the brain. So we have great anti-inflammatories that you can use long-term. Can't use ibuprofen long-term. It'll give you an ulcer, give anybody an ulcer. Panda Bear is our great anti-inflammatory supplement. Its active ingredient is called PEA, palmitol ethanolamide. That's a mouthful. Also curcumin. We have a great curcumin extract as well called curcumes. Start with the anti-inflammatories, and then we have to fight the infection because the infection is probably still lingering somewhere. Often it's in the tonsils, often it's in the adenoids. So we then go with long-term antimicrobial treatments, things like our grapefruit seed extract, colloidal silver, Viragon, Biocillin, Paraslayer. We've got a lot of different natural herbs. I would say this though, many of my patients that have their tonsils and adenoids out have huge resolution in PANDAS. Absolutely amazing. Talk to your ENT. Danny, I think my daughter's impacted at the moment. Usually mag citrate I thought would move it. But I gave her Movicol and it made her sick. Do you think high doses of magnesium and vitamin C is going to be enough to clear her out? Maybe, Danny. What I find works a lot better, we came out with this supplement last year, is a combination of magnesium and electrolytes. Okay, electrolytes are necessary to keep water in the colon. So magnesium, great, but if it's not working or if the vitamin C is not working, we just need electrolytes. So we've combined magnesium and electrolytes into a supplement called Brown Log Train. It's massively popular on people who talk about it on our podcast and with my patients. We're currently out of stock, but it should be in stock next week. So magnesium and electrolytes together, if you want a Brown Log Train, should be good to clear it out. Christina, after an illness, he levels up in his behavior and his speech. I love that. He also gets better after Advil. How long can you give Advil while locating the source of the pain? So, Christina, I want to pull out two things from your comment. Number one, ibuprofen should max out like 2 to 3 weeks because I don't want to cause an ulcer. You can give other anti-inflammatories like our Panda Bear or curcumin long term. But listen to what you noticed. Listen to your observations, okay? If I have a chronic infection, it's just living in my gut, it's living in my tonsils, I don't know where it is. It's causing problems and my body can't kick it out. Okay, so I get sick and my immune system ramps up super huge to fight the sickness, but the immune system is going to fight everything going on inside me. So it starts to fight these chronic infections. So you have improved behavior and improved speech during an illness. Why? Because the immune system's killing off multiple things. Once you kill off that other thing, once you do binders and something natural to kill the infection, you're going to see much better, more retained, longer lasting behaviors in language. All right. And then, like you said, he also gets better after Advil because we decrease the inflammation of the infection. So, Adyomi, I was planning to use Combactrin with a binder. I don't know what Combactrin is, but sounds great. Bella, good morning from Carlsbad. Bella's always on. I've noticed 1 week before my 15-year-old daughter has her period, she has headaches. What can I give her for headaches besides smoothies and other supplements? I'm also getting your new multivitamin from Taka. And wait, I got to say this. After getting our new multivitamin, we have a new multi-spectrum complete. It's phenomenal. After using that from Taka, her communication is going through the roof. No behaviors a week later. Thank you. Bella, awesome. This is what I love. I'm a huge fan of our new multi. Took me 10 years to make it because I wanted to make it right. Now we've got it. If you guys are looking for a new multi, please try our multi-spectrum complete. Give it a bottle and see what happens. But headaches before menses. I would try one of two things. Number one, try our supplement SD Down. I spoke of it briefly before. It's going to help modulate estrogen dominance that can cause those period headaches. The other thing you can consider is a progesterone cream. Because your child's post-puberty, giving a little bit of progesterone the second half of the cycle can be really helpful for those things as well. Try the SD Down first throughout your entire cycle. And then if that doesn't do it, the second half of your cycle, a little bit of progesterone cream. Now, you can purchase low-dose progesterone cream over the counter. We have it on our website. It's not pharmaceutical dose, so it's low dose. It's pharmaceutical grade, but it's not super high dose. But just that little bit can really help a lot of PMS stuff. Got it. Can I use B6 in its inactive form? Is it safe? It is safe. Anna, any thoughts on skin picking? He picks it till it's raw. Yeah, that's one of two things. Number one, why is he picking it? Really? We go back to getting, again, maybe I just took too many psychology courses. I'm a huge fan of Carl Jung. But why does somebody do something? What is the emotional trigger? A, if he's picking his thumb, is there a sensation there? All right? Sometimes we can get, fungal infections or eczema that you feel before you see. So is he picking it because he feels it before there are physical signs? All right? Could be a yeast infection, go in that direction. Or are we just dealing with anxiety? When people bite their nails and pick stuff when they're anxious, you can also try our super serotonin supplement. Pause. That one's out of stock because we had an issue with it and we're reformulating it. Try our Spectrum Tranquility. That's another herbal anti-anxiety. I am not solid with my phone today, guys. Danny, we usually get laughter, then pain, then poop. That's the cycle. Corey, we have an oat urine test by Mosaic. We're having a hard time collecting urine. It's tough. Is it essential to collect the sample first thing in the morning, or can we try at night? You can try at night. The urine's just more concentrated in the morning. But yeah, you can do that. That's fine. One thing, if this works for you, my daughter, when she was young, whenever we put her in the bathtub, pick her up, put her in the bathtub, as soon as her feet hit the water, she'd pee. Okay? If that happens with your child, get two of you. One hold the child in the bathwater, one get a cup, whoa, and grab the urine. Sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Amanda, how much colloidal silver can a 9-year-old have in a given day? Every brand is different because it's a different concentration. So every direction for brand is different. With ours, I tell most people a half a teaspoon twice a day. You could do a full teaspoon twice a day. Jen says, I had our appointment with Dr. Skowron last week. It is amazing. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. Again, I love helping kids, and I hope, we have great outcomes. But I'm here to listen to you guys. I understand what you're going through, and we want to help. And we want to help more than just sending you to therapy and giving you a psych med to keep your kid quiet. I think it's a travesty. We really want to get to the bottom of this stuff. Thank you, Jen. Megan, does your glutathione cream have any NAC? Here's our glutathione cream. Let me take a look. It does not. It does not have any NAC. Good question. All right. Natalie, I added anger management, and the first day I noticed a physical outburst, which was new. Should I decrease the dose, or if it happens again the next day? Yeah, give it one more try. If you still get outbursts, half the dose. This stuff is adaptable, guys. Caitlin says, awesome. You're welcome. Christina, arsenic came back high. Can this cause pain? I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Most arsenic is from foods like rice and apples and chicken, but there might be another source, so test your water if that's not, you don't think that's the issue. Corey, I feel his head has multiple ridges that mine or his brother does not have. He's been head banging and hair pulling. Both have to do with his head. Wondering if something is having to do with misshapenness. Could this cause headaches? Yes. I would talk to your doctor about that. See if you can get like I don't know if it'd be a CAT scan or an MRI to see if there's changes in the actual brain causing the skull to have a shape. I would do that. But yeah, definitely cause the pain. You may want to get some craniosacral as well. That could help. Khadija says, thank you. Very useful. You're welcome. I'm trying. Carla says, I can't wait to try the multivitamin. I'm really excited about it. The initial feedback we're getting is amazing. In fact, when I was at Taka and we released the vitamin, I was speaking, it was Friday night, and I was speaking to a mom and her 16-year-old daughter who are on the spectrum. And her 16-year-old daughter couldn't sleep. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible, horrible sleeper. Melatonin, you name it, didn't work. And she wasn't really happy. There were a lot of behaviors because she wasn't sleeping. So Friday night, she took the vitamin. They came and talked to me Saturday and they said, oh my God, she slept 10 hours and she feels amazing. Then Saturday night, they decided to test it. They said, we're not going to give it tonight. And that night they had horrible sleep again. So they talked to me Sunday morning. So it's not just going to help sleep. It should help speech. It should help behaviors. It's a vitamin that is giving our kids everything that they need, where most multis on the market don't. Most multis on the market are made with few ingredients and the cheap forms. And I didn't want to make something that didn't work. I wanted to make something that was amazing. So that's the goal. Don't forget, Spectrum Awakening has a 30-day return policy. You don't like it, doesn't work, send it back for a refund. Amanda, my multi's arriving today. So excited to start it. Thank you. You're welcome. Oka, what will help her sinuses? NAC. NAC is a protein supplement. It's on our website, if you want ours. But NAC. Khadija, my daughter's 3 years old, takes her clothes off as soon as we get home. That's a lot of sensory. That's a lot of sensory for sure. Try treating the gut. Okoka, I'm in Nigeria. Any hope to get your multivitamins here? So Okoka, we do distribute them through a company in South Africa. I don't know if that'd be an option for you. However, I have some patients in Nigeria, some in Ghana, and we would love to distribute them. Now, we do ship international. You can get on our site. You can ship them to Nigeria. You're going to pay shipping fees through DHL. You're going to pay customs fees, and that's expensive. If there's a company in your country, if there's a company in Nigeria that imports vitamins from the U.S., contact them. Tell them you want Spectrum Awakening supplements, and they'll contact me, and then we'll get a relationship going. Tisbeth, for how long is it recommended to take the yeast mold bundle, and what is the colloidal silver used for? Well, colloidal silver kills off infections. The yeast mold bundle, I would say minimum 3 months, 3 to 6 months. It takes a long time, but you'll get there. Mafus, allergies, running, noise, and puff eyes. What can I use? Try our histamine C supplements. I like our capsule form the best, but we have many. Gata, thanks. Much appreciate your help. That's why I'm here, guys. Paul, after my appointment with you and Dr. Smith last week, you recommended to use a binder like GI Detox. Is the Detox Binderific the right one to try? You can use Detox Binderific. That's Spectrum supplement. You can also use Gut Binder Sweet Tasting. I like that one better just because of the flavor. Mafus, you need to come to Canada. So, A, we're trying to get our supplements into Canada through Amazon. B, boy, I'm right around the corner. My in-laws will be going up there for Thanksgiving. They're about 10 minutes from the border. They live across from the St. Lawrence River near Watertown, near Ogdensburg. So, yeah, I haven't been to Canada since went to Niagara Falls before COVID. But, yeah, it's a great place. I love it. But we definitely need to get our supplements there. Okay, that's all the live questions or comments that I see. So let me do a recap. If I didn't answer your question or you have one, please type it in the comments section. But let's sum up. Human beings don't do things without a reason. Okay, there's always a cause and effect. All right, I find most of us want to be in a content, happy place. So if I'm angry, if I'm hurting myself, if I'm hurting someone else, it's not because I get enjoyment from it, okay? There's something inside me that's making me act that way. I find with our kids, they don't know how to express their pain. I find our kids have more pain than the rest of us because there's sensory issues. So when your child is hurting themselves, hurting you, hurting others, okay, understand where that emotion's coming from. Find the pain. Do they bang their head because they have a sinus infection like somebody talked about, or an ear infection? Are they teething? Are they pushing on their chin because they're teething? Okay? A lot of the times it's a gut infection. Not all the time, okay? But a large majority of the time, because it's so common in our kids. Treating gut infections, you have a few choices. Number one, if you want to find it, if you're that type of person, you're like, no, I'm going to find this thing and then go after it. Get a really good stool test, get a mold urine test. You can get those from our website if you want. But then treatment. Treatment is 2 steps that you do simultaneously. Okay, number one, you got to kill the bug. I get it. You want to use natural stuff like colloidal silver, grapefruit seed extract, other natural stuff. Great. Lump it all together. Go big. All right. You want to add on pharmaceuticals. Great. Go big. Kill it off. But when you kill these guys off, it hurts. Okay. And when you're in that kind of pain, you're going to act out with more behaviors. That's why I see time and time again doctors prescribing antifungals like nystatin or diflucan or ketoconazole, or taking probiotics or taking inulin, and the symptoms get worse, and the family just says, well, I don't want that. I don't want things to get worse, and I'm going to stop the treatment. You still need to do the treatment, but we need to mediate and reduce those die-off reactions. That's with something called binders. Just like your water filter, your water purification system gets rid of that stuff. Get a binder. We got a couple options on our website. I'm a big fan of our gut binder sweet tasting. We also have something called detox binderific or yeast mold binder. You use them. And when your child gets more behaviors on these treatments, increase the binders. Binders are your friend. I cannot emphasize that enough. That's the take home from this, or there's 2 take homes. Okay. Violence is from pain, right? And binders are your friend. That's what you got to remember. Okay. And so, yeah, if you like the stuff on Spectrum Awakening, feel free to use the coupon Candida20, get you 20% off through November 3rd. We got a couple final questions here. Cindy, your multivitamins also helping my sons. I started giving it last week. My youngest has been struggling daily at school since the school year began. This week, his behaviors have gone down drastically, and his teacher has had positive report out for me each day. This can't just be a coincidence. No, Cindy, it's not. And I love that it's helping. I love that it's helping. And think of this concept. This is a multivitamin. This is not a high dose targeted treatment. This is making sure our kids have the nutrients they need for their body to run. But we have all of the right ingredients in all the right forms. So thank you, Cindy. I love that it's helping. I wanted to help everybody. Carla, I love all the positive comments about the multi. As do I. Yilin, my son gets exceptionally bad abdominal pain late night after ice skating. What could be the cause and how to help? Is it MCAS? I don't know. MCAS is mast cell activation syndrome. I don't know. I need to learn more. But if the pain's late night after exercise, 2 things I'm thinking about. A, what did he just eat? What did you eat for dinner or snacks? And is that affecting him? And B, is he constipated? All that physical exercise is going to get the poop out. He's constipated and he can't get it out. It's going to hurt. So you may need to use something like our brown log train to move the poop. Paul says, thank you. We'll try gut binder sweet tasting. Megan, do you give the binder twice a day? At least. Megan, will the binder cause constipation? Rarely, but if it does, add the magnesium and the electrolytes. And Mayra, what do you recommend instead of acetaminophen in case of fever? Ibuprofen. Period. Ibuprofen. Or natural stuff like curcumin, like our curcumin. All right, everybody. Great podcast. Important podcast. We don't want anybody to get hurt. All right. I don't want our kids to hurt themselves. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want teachers hurt. I don't want the school issues. But more importantly, that those behaviors are from pain. Our children are hurting and we can help them. Okay, I know we get overwhelmed. They're screaming, I don't know what to do. Just give them something to be quiet because I need the sanity. Understand the pain. Help the pain. And then they'll be better. They'll thank you for it. All right, last thing from Khadija. I can't wait to see you in London 2025. We're aiming for June. We don't have a solid date yet, but we're aiming for next June. We're doing an in-person conference, either in London or in Bournemouth. More details to follow, but I'm super excited to come back to Europe. I haven't been there in like 10 years, so it's good to be back. Okoko just said, didn't get the magnesium threonate. I got citrate. That's perfect. That's fine. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. We got to get this information out to other families. And most importantly, thank you for doing everything you can to help your child. See you next week, everybody.